Hola, bienvenidos a una nueva entrevista de Hardcore Life. Hoy tenemos un invitado especial, Mr. Dennis Lee from Alesana. Dennis. So,
What's up?
first of all, thank you very much for being here. We
Yeah,
we've been
absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys.
we've been waiting a long time to see Alesana play again in Chile. So let's start with the question to talk about it. It's been a long time since Alesana career, and also since the last time you came to Chile, almost like 10 years, and
hmm
if I recall. And these things, in this time, a lot of things happen. I don't know. We have the end of the war with the pandemic, a lot of things, a lot of things.
Yeah,
And one of these things, among of all this stuff, there was like a rise of an emo revival, which
yeah.
brought back the old fans and the birth of a new generation of fans. How does Alesana see itself as a band with this new emo wave? You know, was it meant for you, and what's the difference between 2007 Alesana versus today Alesana in this emo revival?
Well, that's a great question. Other than the obvious, a few more years, I'm a little more mileage on my odometer. Um, it's been great. Definitely, I think me and a lot of the guys I've talked to in other bands that are of that kind of Warped Tour era that we've run around with forever, everybody has their own theory. I think my thought on it is that because pre-pandemic, we really did see a decline in people coming out to our kind of shows. And I don't know if that's because they have like limitless entertainment on their phone, or it was really going more towards an EDM and people were more interested in going to those kind of events. But as soon as the pandemic hit and they could go out again, I think they've remembered why, screamo, emo, post hard. That's why we're there, because it was that experience of being together at a show, and then suddenly that's all anybody wanted to do is to get out there and be in the crowd and be part of something that wasn't, digital. And so it came back with a vengeance. It's crazy, and it's funny too because this Halloween, Alesana will have been a band for 20 years. We started on Halloween in 2004, and it's such a funny mix between people who've been with us forever and them bringing their kids and stuff versus like brand new fans who've like, this is their first concert. And it's just funny. I think we all as human beings go through the same experiences at the same time. So I guess it makes sense that people would listen to, our music, because we're definitely the band for a troubled teenager. I've come, that's the stories that interest me are the same stories that resonate. And I couldn't be happier. My little sister works with at-risk teens and mental health. And she says, like, I give her shirts to give them and stuff. I'm like, listen, like, we're here for you. Like, so I think it's been awesome, man. I'm really happy that, the emo revival has happened. And I think it's been great to see, people at shows. The more people, the more the merrier, man. Everybody wants to go to a crazy rock show. There's definitely, you see more and more of like the people kind of longing for those Warped Tour years. I'm sure you guys hear about When We Were Young festival,
Yeah.
like popping up here and everything. And it could be as simple too as that quarantine was not kind to people's mental health too. It's like you reach out to different kinds of music, and that's one of those things too. When people tell me they're like, "Oh, I just don't like music with screaming," and I'm telling honestly, like, I hope you never have to, because we're here for you when things fall apart. That there's something in everyone's life where there's no other music that's going to help you out. Like, you just need to scream some. So, we're here for it. If you don't like it, it's not for everybody. I don't like your band either.
Yeah, because back then being emo was like a bad thing.
Oh yeah,
We were outcast, we were discriminated or bullied, and but now it's trendy. It's
it
different.
is.
It's weird, you know. How do you see
That's how it
this
works.
change in the mentality of the
It's the
general
same thing.
mentality?
Listen, I can see your proud display of nerd stuff behind you. Okay, I too am a nerd. and I get it. And it used to not be cool, and now it's super cool. Back when I was like 15, 16, I was playing Dungeons and Dragons and Warhammer 40 and like painting miniatures and rolling dice and so like really nerdy stuff. And now suddenly it's like everyone thinks it's cool. You know, see, that's what I'm talking about. I've got my anniversary present from my wife hanging out in here. It's a D20 and the 1 says "fuck me" and the 20 says "fuck you." And I was like, "Hey, thanks, sweetie." Wow, toy I got sitting around.
Like nerd part of the internet. Oh, nice.
Yeah, no, I got my fucking giant Mortarion, my Warhammer stuff. So that's my whole right arm is my Warhammer army, then Death Guard of Nurgle, the Plague Marines. But this is like my baby because I had him professionally painted so that no one would notice how bad my paint job on my miniatures was. I was very happy with it. So yeah, things change, and it is funny that suddenly we went from being like the kids with eyeliner and girl jeans on that everybody made fun of and told you were gay, into suddenly the cool kids, you know. So that's how it goes. So
continuing on this subject of time, you know, what is the difference between your beginnings in the band with today's Dennis? Like, I don't know, the Family Guy Dennis, the Dennis with the family. And imagine this must be a big difference in going out of tour right now.
It is. Let's see. The Dennis of old. I will say I am creeping up on 8 years sober now. So there's definitely plenty of footage for me from back in the day. Thank you. Where I was just drunk out of my mind. My scream sounded so bad live because I was like so dehydrated. So I feel like my vocals have never been better. Nice. And I'm very glad that, you know, beyond being sober for me, I was sober because, you know, I am a family man now and I've got a daughter, and my daughter was born very prematurely. She was born at 23 weeks and then we had 9 months in the hospital. I tried to be really public with that stuff because it's one of those things that's weird as a parent, you know, to talk about your kids' medical issues, but I've got a little bit of a platform and I feel like people never talk about that part of pregnancy when it goes sideways and stuff. And there are a lot of people have reached out and they're like, thank you for like sharing what's going on and stuff, because my kid has, you know, medical complexities too. So it does add a different element on touring. So if you look at any of our tours that we do in the US now, it's booked as like a full US tour, but it's broken up. It's like 2 weeks and then a couple months off, then 2 weeks. I'm like, that's all I'm doing, straight up. Like, I've got my kid, I got my wife. So it's striking that balance. And, you know, once you're able to do it, like if I hadn't been able to figure out how to wear more than one hat after 20 years, you know, I wouldn't be doing this anymore. But you have to know, like, when okay, I'm not in dad mode now. Now I'm in rock and roller mode. I got to get up here and put this show on. All right. And then I got to go home. You know, it's time to be dad. I can't come in there with some rock star swagger. It's time to, you know, get back to, so you learn how to flip the switches, but it's fun. You know, we all have to be different people to different people in our lives, you know, whether you're clocked into work or you're with your girlfriend or you're hanging out with friends. So you just have to find the balance in that. I am excited though. So usually when I go on tour, all of the parenting responsibilities fall on my wonderful wife, but she's coming with me on this tour. So she's never left the country. So I told her I'm going to take her from being a little country bumpkin with hay in her hair. I'm going to take her around the world so she can see it. She's very excited. So you guys will see her and meet her when she's down there.
That reminds me something about the last tour. Speaking of tour life, the last time Alesana was here in Chile was chaotic, to say the least.
Oh my God.
We were backstage on the show, but beside that day, you had a bumpy ride from Lima to Arica. Mm-hmm. Then you take a bus to Iquique, and then you fly to Santiago, and then the festival got canceled.
It was crazy.
Yeah. Would you like to tell us how was your experience from your side?
Yeah, it's wild. it's one of those things too. I don't know if I blocked some of them. I feel like,
The bad memories you block.
yeah, you try to look at things with rose colored glasses, if you will. So I'm looking back on all the fun parts of that tour, but it was crazy. Like, it was from the get go. I laughed so hard because I'm trying to remember when it started, and we went out and we had this wonderful dinner, and like it was at like a fancy restaurant. And the chef came out and talked to us. I'm like, this is going to be the best tour ever. And then after that, it was chaos. Like, there was a strike, an airport strike that shut down the airport. So that's how we ended up in like a bus going through the desert and stuff. And like all the shows, like somebody didn't file permits for that show. And in Chile, like we had to like just ad hoc put a show together, and like, man, it was crazy. And that was with us in Crazy Town, right? That was the other band. Yeah, I think it was
36 Crazy Fist.
36.
Yeah,
something with numbers. 36.
Yeah, I love this. Yeah. The Alaskans. Yeah, it was crazy, man. So I have high hopes that won't happen on this tour. I have really high hopes that it will be a professional. We have a lot of kids very excited, and I really hope that we are able to deliver the level of performance they deserve. And but see, that was like 10 years ago, so that was right. I mean, almost the pinnacle of my drinking. So I only remember parts of it. So that's probably for the best. Only the best stuff is what I remember.
Here in Chile, for a long time, this was a rumor that Alesana was not going to return to Chile ever. I think this was partially for the words that Sean says on stage. I remember, like, he was angry. I was on the stage with you guys.
Oh,
he was angry. And you bring a band, you feed them. And I was,
oh yeah.
Yeah. But this is something that passed for your mind, or is something like a weird rumor, like a false rumor?
We never blamed you guys. It was like we understood what was happening. So sometimes people start cutting corners, trying to make more money off of shows, and that's just how it shakes out. And we were supposed to have come back. So it has to be. It was right after my wife and I got married, so it has to be about 5 years, and it just fell apart. Like, promoters and stuff get weird sometimes, especially when you're booking internationally. So this time our team vetted everybody on that side of the business very well, and everything's very concrete. We have flights booked. We are actually coming. The show's going to happen. They're real venues. We're ready. Okay. We've got it. No, Alesana would never swear off an entire country. There's cities in the U.S., I won't say where they are, that I want to never play again. And I play them every time. And I put a smile on his face. Maybe it'll be different this time. It never is, but we do it anyway.
So Chile has been the worst experience you have on tour, or it's not? Not
even
that makes
close.
Sense. That's a relief.
Yeah. Oh my God. No, we've really. I mean, you got to think when Alesana started, like, we used to just play like I'm trying to think if you guys have the equivalent of a VFW hall. So it's like literally just like it's not a venue. It's just like a building with a bar in it that like war veterans go drink at. And we would it's in the middle of like Kansas and stuff. Nothing against their shows, but we've done it for a long time. You guys I've been stuck in a blizzard in Canada for like a week and stuff. Like, no, that show wasn't the worst.
So jumping into the creative part, having told many stories through your music over the years, what would you reflect on your work as a storyteller? Like, I don't know.
I tried. It is funny because I describe, especially being a lyricist. At least I write lyrics cooperatively with Sean as the singer and screamer, so I can blame stuff on him. As you look back on it, because you got to think it's especially like, let's say a song like Apology. I wrote that when I was 18. That was the first song in our first EP. So in a lot of ways, when we play that song, it's like me having to pull a page of poetry out of my diary and read it in front of a group of people. So, you know, it's one of those things that as you evolve and you change, I love it because kids love it so much. But, you know, when I read the lyrics, I'm like, man, I'm so much of a better lyricist now. Like, I could have written that way. So I try not to dissect my own stuff too much. I try to focus on, you know, what the goal was, like, you know, the emptiness. I've loved Edgar Allan Poe since I was in 6th grade. I wrote a full, like, we had a poetry assignment where we had to write like 10 poems, and I wrote like 30, and they were all supposed to be like Edgar Allan Poe. And the teacher gave me an F because I grew up in the Bible Belt of the United States, and they're like, this is evil. And my mom had to come in there and be like, he did the project. Like, you have to give him a good grade. So being able to take, you know, stories and stuff that were important to me in my life and try to put them through a lens to reach a new audience was always the goal, you know, because I think reading is super important. That's really a platform that Sean and I both stand on. But I think everyone should read classic literature, try to read poetry, try to read all these different things, because, you know, that's a great foundation for you as, you know, as just a human being or as an artist or anything. I'd pull inspiration from everywhere. So that's always been the goal, is to try to keep stories and poems and stuff alive and, you know, a new generation. So I like to think we've achieved some of that goal in making it interesting and palatable to a new audience. But beyond that, I will always say, and this is any musician, that my last album was my best. So Confessions, hands down, best Alesana album. If you guys haven't really dug into the lyrics, there's a lot of fun stuff in there. The screams are impeccable. It's always, every musician will say their last was their best. So I stand by that.
Is it difficult to share the writing and split into people, into minds, to reach a goal?
It definitely adds a different element to it, and it does make it obviously more difficult, but through that I feel like you get a better product. And being able to, you know, share the responsibility, and because you'll reach moments writing lyrics where you regurgitate something you've written before. You know, when you're writing songs for this many years, you're going to accidentally repeat yourself, or you're going to touch on something you've already touched on, and you've got another person there to be like, hey, you know, we've already done that, think of something better, and, you know, push you. And so there's more stuff on the cutting room floor for sure, but you end up with something that's original and, you know, merits being the standard that we expect from ourselves, because lyrical, it is a huge part of the band.
Do you think this writing, the story writing, the storytelling affects the music? Because after the emptiness, you start, I don't know, I can remember the song in the song when it started silent, which adds some trumpets, and I don't remind that you used trumpet before on other songs. So
no, definitely that was a really fun album. So that album too, A Place Where the Sun is Silent, is definitely one of those ones where you're going to get the strongest opinions from Alesana fans, because it was intense. Like, and it's I like to think that this music tells me what the lyrics are. I've always felt like that. The music is going to get written, and I'm going to listen to it. I'm like, I wonder if this song could be about that. And, like, you know, I try not to force the music to fit any story ahead of time. So we started writing the music. I was like, man, this really has kind of a dreamy quality. Okay, like, let's start. And that's why we started working on This Is the Dream before the artist woke up, and this timeline of stuff, and like, how can we do it? And that album was when we had gone from Fearless to Epitaph Records. I can't remember. I think we had like a big budget, and we were just like, let's go crazy. So we had like literally, we hired those trumpets were like trumpet players we hired, and they were like in there playing. We had the same string quartet that did The Emptiness. They came back. We had a kids choir. Like, we mic'd up like the sanctuary of a church and had a kids choir. And then we went to a high school glee club, and like all that weird like choral singing in the background. It was like kids that like we got into a room and like, okay, here you go. So it was, from a musician's perspective, like hands down the most fun we've been able to have at a band. So I think it is the opposite. I think that the music is what is pushing the lyrics in the direction rather than me trying to force them to write what I think they need to for an idea I have.
So now that the Annabelle trilogy is finished, and considering that the last time you released new music was on 2017, if I remember.
It's been a while. Yeah,
It's
been a little bit.
Do you have any plans to release new material in the near future?
We 100% do, and it's
you guys working on something right now?
Yeah, we've been working on something. The wheels of Alesana turn slowly now that we're family guys. I will take a lot of the flack because we have been trying to get something done, and then I had, like I said, my daughter was very preterm. I had a lot of 9 months in the hospital, so we had some life stuff going on. So I want the kids who hear this and are in the comments on our Instagram and Facebook, A, to realize my wife does our social media, and B, cut us some slack, okay? we are working on stuff. It will be out, but we are all family men now, and we have our human lives, but we've been working on stuff, and we're very excited about. I'm personally very excited about the lyrical direction and everything. So as soon as it's like when the music, like I said, the music comes first. They've almost got it buttoned up, and then we can start really plugging away at the lyrics and at least get something out for kids to hear. So you'll hear what Alesana sounds like after 20 years.
So you have like some ideas how it's going to be it's going to have a similar storyline from the previous one, or you have?
It'll be completely independent. Yeah, but it will still be. We're set in our ways of telling stories with our albums, so it will still be, a full concept. So
we have this question is a discussion between Max and me. What the fuck is sweetcore, dude? we were watching interviews, and what's sweetcore? There's another sweetcore band beside Alesana.
You shouldn't know what sweetcore is because it is completely made up. We get into this discussion, so
sorry about the curse, but
no, please. What the fuck is sweetcore? So we don't know. Like back in the day, especially like screamo and post-hardcore, like were labels that like no one really knew exactly what bands went and what. I still call us a screamo band half the time, and then people jump all over me like, no, that's not what you're, post-hardcore. I'm like, all right, whatever. And so our old merch guy, Joe Metal, came up with sweetcore. He's like, that's what it sounds like to me. I don't know, it doesn't really fit any of the other genres. I'm like, perfect, we'll start calling it that. Like, why not, So sweetcore was like our original, back when, has to be like 2006 we were calling it, and it stuck around. That I hear it every once in a while. I'm like, well, we really don't fit into any of the other genres, so sweetcore sounds fun. But yeah, so you haven't heard of it because it's completely made up.
Yeah, it's distinctive. So there's no other sweetcore bands out there?
No, not that I know of.
Okay. Any final words to the Chilean public who will be coming to see you soon here? And any spoiler of what the set list?
No, I'm not spoiling the set list, y'all. You gotta leave something to look forward to.
There was a lot of people here that was, like afraid that you do a set list like in your tour, focus just on only one album. So
no. I will spoil that. Santiago, we are playing all the hits. Okay, we're not playing one album. That's something we've been doing in the U.S. That's specifically a project we're working on here internationally, and festivals and stuff. Now we're gonna give you what you want. Okay, we'll play the hits from all the different albums, and I don't want to spoil a set list because I want you to have some mystery left. But
it's like
it will be songs from all the different albums.
Nice.
So we try to touch on all of them.
So an invitation to the people from your words, Dennis?
That's it. I hope you guys come out. It's gonna be fun. I love playing, especially anywhere in Latin America, between Mexico or South America, is always when people ask me, where's the craziest place you've ever been? That's always, I'm like, you have no idea how real it gets once you get to South America. So I've told that to my wife. I said my wife's coming with me. Don't let me down, guys. You know, it's going to be a fantastic show. So I hope everybody comes out, has a lot of fun, goes crazy safely, but goes crazy. And you know, we never meant to make you think we weren't coming back. I'm glad we are.
We're glad to have you back, guys. So thank you very much, Dennis.
That's it.
Muchas gracias a la gente que vio esta entrevista. No olviden seguir a Hardcore Life en las diferentes redes y visitar hardcorelife.com. Mi nombre es Edgar Lara y nos vemos en un próximo video.